What's going on, everybody? So you're about to watch the inaugural episode of Bring It to the Table, where I was joined by Coach Tommy Joe Whiddon of the Mosley Dolphins, and we had a great conversation. Just the two of us, first time that we have ever had a sit-down conversation. Uh, I'm a full fan of transparency, so before you watch this, I wanted to come on here and tell you all that I forgot to switch the microphone settings to my main podcast. So the audio, the entire interview, what the levels looked good, so I didn't question it. I didn't double check, so it's on me, but it was coming through the webcams, not through these guys. So the audio is not the best. However, I found that the conversation was way too good not to put out tonight. So hope you guys really enjoy. Also, I know I got some work to do on my intros and outros. That's a me thing. That has nothing to do with the camera quality, or well, the camera quality is great, no, with the microphone quality. So hope you guys enjoy this, and let me know what you think in the comments. All right, everybody, welcome to the inaugural episode of Bring It to the Table. I'm Kyle Wright. I created this show to sit down with people whose stories deserve to be heard. Every conversation will be built around what I call the 6 P's of life: the person, the passion, the purpose, the perseverance, perspective, and partnerships. Through those 6 topics, we're going to learn about who our guests are, what drives them, what they've overcome, and what they've learned all through life. And of course, the people who help them shape their journey. Today's guest, Mosley Dolphins high school football coach, Coach Tommy Joe Whiddon. He is the head football coach at Mosley, but he's also a husband, a father, a mentor, and a leader whose impact far reaches beyond Friday nights. So, Coach, welcome to the inaugural episode of Bring It to the Table.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
We were talking a little bit there before I got started. I'm like a little nervous here because this is the first time we've had a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Looking forward to it. So, born in Selma, Alabama.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about growing up. What was life like in the Whiddon household?
Oh yeah. So when I was born in Alabama, born in Selma. We actually lived in Camden. Camden's such a small town in Alabama. It didn't even have a true hospital. That's why I was born in Selma. My dad was when I was first, obviously that young. My dad was a high school football coach at Wilcox Academy in Camden, Alabama. Coached in the private school league. And as a head football coach, my dad won 2 state championships. And as a young kid, just grew up around the game. Always coming to. I mean, as early as 4 or 5, like I could just remember going to practice with my dad. It was just part of the way of life, and just constantly grew up around the game. Obviously, getting to be around the guys, getting to be all like those were, just fun memories, fun things to be a part of, and but yeah, in coaching in that private school league at that time, there wasn't a lot of money. There wasn't, my parents had a tough time, making ends meet. So my dad, made the decision that when I was around the 3rd grade, our family moved to Florida. My dad was originally from Niceville, military kid, moved all over, and his parents at the time, my grandfather had retired in Eglin, and they lived in Valparaiso, and we moved to Niceville. My dad got an assistant coaching job there at Niceville, and was coaching there, and then ultimately got into administration. Ended up becoming the principal at Ruppel Middle School, which is the middle school that leads into Niceville. But our house, I've got 2 younger brothers, John Houston and Rick, who are also college football players. I mean, our house growing up was highly competitive. Highly competitive. It didn't matter what we were doing. Whether we were playing video games, playing in the yard. Everything was game 7. Like that's how hard that we competed, and there's a good chance that if we lost, that there would probably be a fight at the end of it as well. And that was, but again, it just came from just our parents. Both my mom, she was equally as competitive as well. She expected us to play hard, and she hates to lose, Again, if we weren't playing to our standard or doing something, we were going to hear it from her as much as we would, from my dad. But that was just definitely the environment that we grew up in, and just definitely had a lot of fun memories, from that.
So you all boys,
All boys.
all boy household,
Yeah.
with the exception of your mom, and she did well with that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, my mom, she, extremely competitive. My grandfather, her dad, he played football at Auburn. He was on the '57 national championship team at Auburn. Played defensive line. There was a high school running back, and then when he got to Auburn, ended up having to play defensive line. But I mean, she came from a football family as well. He was tough, hard nosed, hard working, blue collar, and that's the way that she was raised, and she raised us in that same light. Talking about, I was telling this story the other day. Growing up, this is a funny story that me and my brothers always talk about. There was one time we were playing the board game Risk.
I knew Risk growing up. Yeah,
we were playing the board game Risk. It was we were always playing games in our house growing up, like Friday nights. Especially when we were middle school, early high school, would be board game night or something like that. And I remember one time that we were all kind of ganging up on my mom on the game of Risk, and just slowly wiping her off the map, and she did not appreciate it at all. And she got mad, and she was so mad that she got the dice, and she threw it at my dad and hit him right in the eyeball. And it was it was highly contentious. Next thing you know, the Risk board is thrown across the room. And but again, that just shows you how much in my family, like, we hated losing. That losing at the board game of Risk. Now we laugh on it today. It's a funny story now that we look back on. But again, just everything in our house growing up, everybody wanted to win at everything that we did. And, definitely molded us into the people that we are today.
of course. Tell me more about your dad. I mean, you're growing up with I'm sure he's hard nosed, knowing who you are and hearing about your mom. He had to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
So tell me about coming up under him, because having to be the role model for four boys and being an educator, being a coach. What was he like?
Yeah, no, my dad is definitely hard nosed. He's definitely a tough guy. Once he got into the administrator role there, he actually ended up coaching me in middle school football. And like always, being the coach's kid, your dad's always going to be, harder on you than he is.
They think it's the opposite way, but
Yeah.
it's not.
No, it definitely was not like that. And at that time, those times you don't understand it as a kid. Obviously, as a father now, you understand why uh, you want that. But no, my dad, he uh, had high expectations from us from the standpoint of never about wins and losses, but just how we competed. He expected us to play hard. He expected us to play the game the right way, to do things the right way, not only on the field, but obviously in the classroom as well. And I think one of the biggest takeaways, from my dad is just, again, like I said, that competition, that competitive spirit, and just try to bring that into everything that we do. It's funny enough, like, again, we had three boys growing up. The house that he grew up in was four boys. So like in our like it's just been generations of boys, boys, boys. And I can remember, just my dad's dad, my grandfather. That I remember when I was like in elementary school, teaching me how to play ping pong. I never played ping pong before, and
It's tough, man.
yeah, and like my grandfather, my dad's dad, teaching me how to play ping pong. I mean, he's just destroying me. And my grandmother was like, "Oh, you need to take it easy on him." And my grandfather, I remember him saying, "Is like, hey, we're Whiddons. We don't feel sorry for anybody. Like, we're going to compete, and we're going to, whatever we're doing, like, you're going to learn that if you don't like losing, you better get better. You better compete." And obviously, that was poured into him, and that was poured into us as young men. That, hey, if you don't like losing, then you better get out there and you better do something about it, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that can control that, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you. And again, like, I think those are important again, at the time, those are tough. There are definitely some hard things about that, but at the same time, like those are great lessons to learn,
Yeah.
as a young child and into middle school and high school.
You feel like that's kind of going away in today's youth?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, I think that's, man, there's so many parents. Me and my wife were talking about this the other day, and one of the things that I truly appreciate, at coaching Mosley and having 150 kids in the program is like you get to see 150 different styles of parenting, what works, what doesn't work, and like I'm appreciative, and I let parents know that when I see things that I like, oh, I see why their kids act this way. Like I try to bring that into raising my boys as well. And I think in today's world, especially in the travel ball model, so many parents are trying to smooth the path for their kid, or they are trying to take, all of their failures away, for them. And man, I think that's doing your child a massive disservice.
Yeah.
I can look back in my life, and now I'm so appreciative of the failures that I had coming up because they've made me who I am, and it's taught me how to compete. It's taught me how to work hard, and like in raising my boys, like I'm trying to figure out ways how I can manufacture as much adversity for them as they go through life, because everybody's going to see it at some point in time, and your response to everything is truly defines who you are as a person. And again, I just think there's so many parents that are trying to take that away uh, from their kids, and I can speak to in my program the parents that are hard on their kids, that are tough on their kids, that force their kids to earn it. And they're really great, hardworking kids that have a beginning stage of some mental toughness that are going to help and benefit them later on in life.
So obviously you can't raise strong children without a strong partner.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you meet your wife, Kristen?
I met my wife, Kristen. Actually, I've known Kristen since elementary school. So my dad and her dad were both assistant football coaches at Niceville, and so but now Kristen and I, we didn't start dating until I was sophomore, junior in high school, and lo and behold, at that time, her dad was my head football coach. And so, and I mean, everybody.
Coach always loves that, right?
I know. And he is a very intimidating person. I mean, when you talk about strict, hard nosed, I mean, highly competitive. That's who he was. Like us as players, we were all terrified of him. I can remember the first time that me and her went on a date. I mean, I swear to God, I circled their house like 5 times because I was terrified to go to the door because I knew Coach Hicks obviously was going to be there. But yeah, no, we met in high school, and like heck, even like Coach Hicks. I mean, it's funny now. Like I feel like he didn't even like recognize my existence until we got engaged. Like I would go over to the house, and I mean, he wouldn't say a word to me.
My father-in-law's like that too.
Yeah, and but obviously now we have a great relationship, and I value his opinion. Obviously, he was a great high school football coach, and I value his opinion on a lot of different things, not just football. But yeah, Chris and I, we met in high school, and we dated through college, and then ultimately we got married. Right when I was finishing GAing and getting my first full time position coaching job. But again, she's a daughter of a football coach, and she gets it. She understands what the expectations are, what the hours are, what the time commitment is, and man, she's truly appreciative and truly thankful for her.
That was going to be my next question. Is we talked about that support system, and having a supportive wife like that is so important with what you do. I mean, I spend like 20% of the time that you do on my projects.
Yeah.
And, like I see the sacrifice it takes from my wife, so I know Miss Kristen makes a lot of sacrifice. So like, Talk about like what that means to you.
No, it means everything to me, and it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's tough. It's not easy. Um, she, like I said, she grew up in a football household, so she got to see what that life looks like. You know, her dad being the head coach at Niceville for 19 years, and she knew the hours that he worked and the time commitment that he put into it, and so she knew exactly what she was signing up for. Now, it doesn't make it any easier.
Right.
You know, I think some of our when we do have arguments, it's about my time commitment to Mosley football and the stresses that it puts on her. And there's a lot of times that she's running our household uh, like a single parent, and she obviously has commitments to her work. Being a pharmacy manager and running her pharmacy. I mean, she has a lot of expectations for her job as well, and there's a lot of times where she has a lot of plates in the air. Um, but also at the same time, like as much as I want Mosley football to be successful, she wants that as well. And as much as she's my biggest cheerleader, she's also my biggest critic as well. Like whenever we don't play well, she's definitely going to be one of the first people to let me know like what the hell was going on out there tonight, or what was this, or why
But
did
you
this
like
happen.
that, right?
No, I do.
You
I
love
definitely,
that.
I love it. No, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I definitely love it, and I think that's why. I mean, if you ask her like why is uh, is why she does all that in the sacrifices, because she wants Mosley football to win. She wants Mosley football to play at a high level, and again, I'm extremely appreciative of her for that and all the sacrifices again that she makes for our family.
So you kept the boy tradition alive.
Yes,
Three boys.
I got three boys. Yes,
Campbell, Bo, and Shepard.
yes.
Tell me about them.
Man, they're first of all they're great kids.
I think it was Campbell that came to the meeting.
Yeah,
with you, right?
Campbell reminds me a lot of myself at that age. Again, it's so crazy how your kids can grow up in the same house and be so different from one another. Campbell reminds me a lot of myself. Man, he loves coming to practice. He loves being with the boys. Like in the summertime, like as school's getting out, he's counting down the days to school gets out, because he knows when school gets out, he gets to come to work with me every single day. And like when he gets there, like heck, I don't see Campbell because he's with, JP, or when Carson was here, he's in the locker room hanging out with all those guys. Heck, he's got secret handshakes with about half the players on the team. He's begging me this year to let him be the ball boy, on Friday nights, and he loves ball. Bo, my middle child, he is completely different. Don't get me wrong, he plays sports. Obviously, actually Campbell and Bo tonight on their rec team baseball, they're both playing for their championships
Nice.
tonight. So they're both good little players. But Bo, like when it's time for him, he's like, oh, do I have to? Do I have to come to football? You know, like if you ask Bo, like he'd rather build Legos and read books. That's what he loves to do, and he can keep to himself. He's a little bit more introverted than what Campbell is, and he can play with himself. He doesn't need a companion. Where Campbell's always wanting somebody to come play, with him. And then my youngest Shepherd, I mean, I don't like me and my wife say this all the time because me and Kristen are both naturally introverted, quiet, really keep to ourselves. Shepherd is an extreme extrovert. He knows no stranger at all. He loves to talk. He loves to meet people, and whatever he's thinking, he is going to say. But yeah, he played his little first year of wee ball this year and had fun with it. But all great kids, all both really smart. Campbell and Bo this year made all A's through through the school year, which we're both extremely proud of them for that. And like I said, great kids that are just fun to be around, and love them to death.
What has fatherhood taught you that football could never?
Oh, it's definitely uh, a lot more patience. You know, again, it teaches me a lot. They teach me a lot when it comes to like coaching the older boys of just, you know, how much how much patience you have to have. Also, too, um, like to coach kids hard and to coach kids the way that you do. Like you have to pour a lot of love into them. Obviously, you know the amount of love that you pour into your kids. Um, and how much your kids, but like at the same time, it just shows you like if you're going to coach people hard and you're going to do things hard, and I'm going to be hard on my boys. Like there has to be a relationship there. You know, this it brings me back to my church I used to go to in Niceville. Our preacher there used to say, "Rules without relationships equals rebellion," and that's just something that I've poured into the team, but you know that I try to do that every single day uh, with my boys, and also too like it teaches you like especially like with Campbell and Bo being so different, like even though they're in the same house, like even with a football team, everybody's on the same team, like everybody responds and everybody learns differently, and what may work for one may not work for the other. Now, the rules and the expectations for everybody are the same, but the way that you get to from point A to point B may be completely different with every single kid because every single kid uh, is different in their own way and they respond and they learn differently and like again I can just see that on a daily basis with my two boys, my older two boys. My youngest, obviously he's 4, we're still figuring out what he responds to, but like again, when you take that principle to 150 guys in a locker room, like every kid's different. Every kid responds. Some kids need a pat on the back. Some kids respond to a kick in the butt. You know, um, and but again, especially my older two, they teach me that. You know, definitely on a daily basis.
You kind of take from maybe some of your players some what to dos and what not to dos when you see the way they were raised. Is that?
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely, you know, as you get to, I mean, I think that's really big, and with our players is like I said, if you're going to coach kids hard, there has to be a relationship. You have to find out about them and why the way they are. You have to invest into them, and when you start digging and peeling back those layers of the onions, you're going to find out why kids are the way that they are, and you understand. And like you know, like I used a kid like Joseph Chima last year. You know,
Sweetest mama in the world.
yes, Mama Cheem, Miss Rachel, I love her to death, and truly just the patience of Job with her. But like when I did know Chima his freshman year, I had no idea what his story was and what he had been through in his life. You know, I just thought he was this knucklehead clown that was just, you know, trying to be a distraction and blah 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 and all those different things. But obviously, as you grow and you go through that process, like you learn about him and learn who he was and learn why he is the way and like the things that he's been through in his life. I wouldn't wish on anybody, but those events and things made him to the person that he was. And you know, through that, and again, there's always going to be you know 2 steps forward, you know, 1 step back type of deal. But like it just helps in molding him into the person. So then 4 years later, you get this, you know, awesome young man that has changed completely for the good. That you know went from having a 1.6, 1.7 GPA to you know making all A's his junior and senior year. And but it just again it took a while to figure out you know what it was going to take to mold him into the person that he was. And ultimately we didn't figure that out until we learned about who he was as a person. And you know and I think that you know that has to go along with all of our kids because they're so different. And you know and you got to have that relationship piece uh, to be able to help get them to the finish line.
Powerful stuff, man. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be hard to see them go at the end of their high school tenure. Is that do you kind of try to keep that relationship beyond when they get their diploma? Because obviously you can't stay 100% connected like you are when you're seeing them every day at practice. But Do you try to keep that relationship when they're gone?
No, 100% yes. Like I keep up with all of our guys as much as I possibly can. Um, is it hard to see them go? It's not hard to see them go because I'm happy for the young men that
Right.
they are becoming. Like what would be tough is what really bothers me the most is when because it's not 100%. Not every kid is going to turn into what you want them to turn or what the vision that you have for them. Like that's honestly what bothers me the most is like through this process of somebody like either quitting Mosley football or not being a part of Mosley football anymore because they're not willingness to change or not be able to do things the right way. Truth be told, like that bothers me. Like I wasn't able to create a relationship or find out the reason why, or do whatever it took to get them, uh, and to get them on the right path. Like that's what bothers me the most. Like when Chima leaves, and I'm so happy for him because like I know all the work that went into that to get him to that point, and like his life moving forward like he's got a chance to be successful now, and Mosley football played a part in that.
Yeah.
And again, like when you get so invested with those kids, then yeah, like you want to keep up with them because because you are so invested into their lives and like you want to know the young man that they've become. Like even like I love like when my guys at Booker T, like they text me or stay in touch about what's going on or what they're doing for their work now or some of them are starting to have kids now, and I love hearing about that type of stuff and appreciative that they think enough of me and the relationship that they have that they want to keep me as a part of their lives as they move on through life.
So let's go. Let's get into the coaching and the game of football, because obviously you really didn't have much of a choice growing up. But what was it about football that hooked you, or was there ever a time in your life where you were unsure about the sport?
Oh yeah, 100%. Success is never linear. There's definitely going to be ups and downs. There's going to be things that mold you and make you into who you are, especially as a football coach. Um, but yeah, like I said, I grew up in a world of coaching. Obviously, my dad was a high school coach. My father-in-law is it was a high school football coach, and so, but like things that I felt like when I went to started playing college football and I got towards the end, like I love football so much, like I didn't want to walk away from it. Crazy enough, my degree is in geography, and I was going to get something in the GIS field, and I just as I got to the end, and I just couldn't see myself sitting behind a computer and working behind a desk all day.
It's tough.
And like I love the game. I love the strategy of the game. And I didn't want to walk away from it. And I asked my coaches if there's an opportunity for me to be a GA at Jacksonville State, and they said, well, hey, we'll get back to you, if something comes up. And like I had graduated from college, and I was kind of middle of the summer, middle of June, just not really knowing what I was going to do next. And one of the coaches called me and was like, hey, you still want a GA? And I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, well, let's get back here and get you in class for the month of July, and we'll start you on that coaching journey. And so I went there, and man, being a GA, man, that's one of the hardest things to do in coaching.
So I was gonna cut you off there and see. So explain to everybody what a GA does at a college like Jacksonville State.
So at Jacksonville State, when you're GA, like you're going back to get your master's, and you are essentially like the assistant to the assistant coach. Obviously, you're there. You get to sit in meetings. You get to learn ball. You get to watch film. And as you go through that process, the better you do, the more you do, the more input you can have into the meetings and stuff like that. But like when you show up, like day one, it's very much like you don't speak unless somebody speaks to you. And And like from all my GA experiences, not just me, but like those college coaches. I mean, that college football is a very cutthroat, tough. You got to have some mental toughness, and like those coaches are going to do things, petty things, to test, your mental toughness and just make things really, really hard on you. Obviously, you're getting there and you're working from 7 to end the season to midnight, 1 o'clock. That's hard enough on its own, but like they're gonna be like, all right, hey, go pick my kids up from school. Hey, go pick up my dry cleaning. Hey, we got people coming in from out of town. I need you to come help me clean up my house. just testing you to see if you're gonna be like, man, I can't, like, I'm not gonna do this. Like, right. I'm gonna dip out. Like, I'm gonna go do something else. Just it's really tough. It's like that part of it is definitely a grind, because like you're always having to do so much, and your time is, you never have any time to yourself. It's literally ball 24/7. If it's not ball, then you're going to do something else for somebody else. And like through that process, like you learn, like, this ain't about you, dude. Like, yeah. This is about everybody else. And this game of football, like, as soon as you think it is about you, like, you are just setting yourself up for major failure. But like, one of the cool things about getting to be a GA at Jacksonville State, like when I was there, it's not the D1 Jacksonville State that it is now. We were an FCS program who had just transitioned up less than 10 years before I got there from D2 football. So like, there wasn't like all of these roles that you see now, where like everything is very individualized within the program. And like, if you worked at Jacksonville State, like, you have this one task, and like, this is your task within the program. Like back then, especially as I get older through my GA process and prove myself, like, I got to have a lot more roles and got to do a lot more things that I wouldn't have gotten to do maybe at like a bigger school. And so I was definitely appreciative of that, and worked for some great coaches there at Jacksonville State.
What years were you? Because I know I have this in my notes, but what years were you at Jacksonville State?
So I played there from 03 to 07, and then I GA'd 07, 08, 09. So I was there for like a 7-year stint, and then as I was finishing up my master's at Jacksonville State, I had an opportunity to go be quality control at Auburn, and was there for the 2010 season. And what quality control is essentially like a GA, just like at Auburn. Again, even back then, there was more spots. So there's GA spots and quality control spots. And so I was able to get one of those spots there at Auburn, 2010 national championship season, and just got to be a part of that. So I was there for like literally one calendar year at Auburn, and then I went back. Coach Crow hired me as tight ends coach for 2 years at Jacksonville State. So, so in all, like outside of that 1 year at Auburn, I was there at Jacksonville for close to like a 10-year period of my life.
I remember a game, Jacksonville State went into Tallahassee, and it poured rain the whole game. Mm-hmm. I feel like that lines up to about when you would have been there, but I don't remember if that would have been the year.
Yeah, no, so one of my years, I can't remember, I think it was 09. It was at 2010, I was at Auburn. 09, my last year there. It was Bobby Bowden's last year at FSU. We had came in there. Christian Ponder was a starting quarterback at FSU. And it did rain. I can't remember if it rained off and on throughout the game. But long story short, it was a close game. We had, I don't know, a 3-point, less than a touchdown lead late in the game. FSU got the ball back with about a minute and a half, and y'all were doing 2-minute drill to try to beat us. I remember they threw a corner ball. God, we had a corner that it hit him right in the face, right in the hands, and we dropped the pick. We catch that ball.
It's game over.
It's game over. We go out there, knee it out, and we beat dang FSU.
In Bobby Bowden Stadium. Well,
and it was, if you remember Bobby that time right there, it was very, Coach Bowden, it was very touch and go at that time. I would have hated to see what happened, to him if we would have won that game. Now they went down the field and threw like a last second touchdown to beat us there, but yeah, like at Jacksonville State, man, we had a great program. We obviously felt like we could play with a lot of teams. We played close with uh, with FSU that night. The next year when I left, and the year I was at Auburn, my two younger brothers were playing on the team at Jacksonville State. Remember they beat Ole Miss
You remember that?
in double overtime, and so there's always had really good players. While I was there, and like I said, worked for great coaches that poured a lot into me and taught me a lot about the game of football, and and truly appreciative of my time there at Jacksonville. The thing that's about there's not a whole lot in Jacksonville, Alabama. So like when you went there, like you better love football, because if you didn't love football, there wasn't a whole lot to do outside of that. So and again, just it helped me grow my love of the game of ball, because again, that was all that was there, and like I said, helped mold me. Coach Crow, who I played for, was definitely a old school, hard nosed, you know, football coach that I would say like our two-a-days were borderline a death camp. Like
Jeez.
that's how you couldn't pay me amount of money to go back and do that. It was tough, but again, like I said, looking back on it, just truly appreciative, for that time.
You said you had some cool stories from your time at Auburn. You weren't there. You said you were there for one calendar year, but you were obviously there for a big year.
Yeah.
Jim Chiswick's the head coach.
Yeah.
Cam Newton wins a national championship. Do you have any stories to share from that year?
Oh yeah. One of the coolest things in my life that I ever got to do. I was on Charles Barkley's bar tab uh, one night. So we're at the national championship. Like when you're the GAs and living that G life, like you try to find opportunities to go out and have fun, and like even like when you go on the road and play in other towns, like you're looking for opportunities to sneak away and maybe go get a beer or something like that, after you've got all your work done, the night before the game, and so we get to the national championship, and we get there Sunday night. We work till like 2 o'clock in the morning. We work till Monday night till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then like we're like, golly, man, we're working like we're not getting any time to do anything out here, And the reason why we're working so late is because we get out there, we practice in the morning. You go out there for the bowls, and they got all the bowl activities going on, and like we still got all of our GA responsibilities that we got to do.
Did they play that one in Pasadena?
No, it was in Scotts.
That's okay. That's the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. And so, like when the players go and do all the bowl activities, like the full-time coaches aren't going to those. They're sending like the GAs out to essentially go be the babysitters of all the players. And so like we're out there and like we're having to do all that stuff and keep an eye on them. But like once those activities get back and get over, like we still like got our normal amount of work that we've got to do. So it was making our days a lot longer because we were having to go do all the bowl activity stuff. So like after 2 days, like us, all the G's were like, screw it, like Wednesday night, whatever time we get done, like we're gonna go out. So Tuesday night we worked to about 11 o'clock, and then Wednesday night we worked till about 10:30, and we were like, man, it's kind of late. Y'all still want to go out and have a drink or something like that? And the guys were like, yeah, we said we're going to do it. Screw it, we're going to go out. So we looked on our phone, like, where's the closest bar that we could find? We found one that was literally like right across the street from our hotel, and we went over there, and like the doors were locked, and we looked in, and the bartender was like wiping down the bar, and he came over, unlocked it, and I was like, hey, are y'all still open? He goes, no, but I was like, I got one more guest that I'm waiting for him to finish. He's like, y'all can come in, like as long as he's in here, and we'll let y'all have some drinks as well. So okay, that's fine. So when we look over there, the one person that was still left with a group of people was Charles Barkley, and then we'd worked so late. We still had all of our Auburn gear on, like we didn't care, like we had all of our Auburn stuff in. So we walk in, and we're in all of our Auburn stuff. Obviously, Charles Barkley went to Auburn,
Yeah.
and he sees us with all of our Auburn stuff on, so he's got to come see who these guys are. And he comes over and he says, "Hey, I'm Charles Barkley. Welcome to my city." So we got to meet him, and he said, "Bartender, put these guys on my tab." And so, like, next thing you know, like, we're ordering drinks on Charles's tab, and then next thing you know, like, after we had a couple of drinks, like, we're sending him drinks, he's sending us drinks, and it was a lot of fun that night. Something that, cool experience that I got to be a part of, and not too many people can say that they got to be on Charles Barkley's bar tab.
Yeah, no, that's a unique
Yeah,
experience.
it definitely was.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What a cool guy. I would love to crack a few with him.
Oh yeah, he was, as
awesome.
you can imagine, like, what you see on TV is what he is.
I can't imagine he changes himself
Yeah,
very much.
it's what he is in person, and like I said, it was just get to hang out with him, like, on a on a personal level. Obviously, with our Auburn stuff on, he I definitely took an interest into us and what we did and who we were, and like I said, it made for a really fun night. I mean, now the thing that was tough about that night was during bowl practice, we were practicing the next morning at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So for all of us, geez, the next morning was definitely
Do you even go to sleep?
yeah, it was definitely a tough day at practice the next day, but we battled through and got our work done.
So you go back to Jacksonville State as a tight ends coach. And then was it there back to Niceville?
Yeah, so my second year there, so my first year back, we either won the league or finished second. My next year back, we finished three-way tie for first. We had a crazy game, halfway through the year where we had, it's crazy. I don't want to get, like, I could tell you this was a wild story and stuff. We had a 24-point lead with about 7 minutes left in the game, and we lost the game. Because we lost that game, we ended up having to have a three-way tie for the conference championship. The other two teams made the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs. And so from that moment, our head coach got let go. And, in college football, the head coach gets let go. Everybody gets let go. And so so from that, I was young, didn't really know what I was wanting to do. Interviewed for a couple of college jobs, didn't get them, and then obviously turned to the high school route and ended up at Niceville and got into high school football. I loved it, and then kind of the rest is history from there.
Coach Hicks still at Niceville when you went back?
Yeah, no, he definitely. Coach Hicks was definitely the head coach there at Niceville during that time. Working for him, I worked for him for 6 years. Probably just 6 of the hardest years working in my coaching career was working for him. Once, because it's your father-in-law, and kind of like that same principle of, like, your dad's going to be hard on you as the player. My father-in-law was, I felt, he was hard on me. He was hard on me, and it definitely made, obviously we won a lot. Like, we won a lot of football there. During my time there, we went to a state championship. We went to 2 Final Fours. We had, a lot of success. But again, like in the coaching world, like, yeah, everything, like, there's definitely going to be tense and tough moments. Definitely made for some awkward times where, like, hey, you screwed something up or something didn't go right, and then hey, we're all eating, family dinner over the house on Sundays. It definitely made for some challenging times, because he was so, if I could compare him to anybody, like, just from a coaching standpoint, would be like Nick Saban. Like, every single day working for Coach Hicks was like 4th and 1. Just like, there was no sitting around on your butts. Like, if you were sitting around, that means you weren't doing something. Like, there was something that always needed to be done, and just he was so detail oriented in everything that he did, and expected everybody to have that same attention to detail. Also, too, one of the most competitive people that I've ever been around. Like, our practices at Niceville were some of the most competitive practices that I've ever been a part of. I felt like I feel like I'm one of the most competitive people on the face of the earth. Coach Hicks, I was an offensive guy. Coach Hicks, was a defensive guy. And man, we would just have knockout, drag out practices uh, in there that again made our team really tough. But also too, like when you go that hard, I mean, it makes it really tough. A crazy thing that happened that year we went to the state championship. Our open week was like, I don't know, week 7, week 8, and you would think like we knew we had a good football team. Offensively, we're averaging over 40 points a game. Defensively, they were averaging, I think, giving up like 6 points a game. We were beating everybody, and so like again, because it was so competitive, like amongst the coaching staff, like we would be chirping each other about like who was better, like offense or defense. Like we're scoring 40, they're giving up 6. Defense is saying we're winning games because of defense. Offensive coaches are saying we're winning games because of the offense. So like
it's healthy though, right?
That's no, healthy. It was always healthy, but like it was healthy till it wasn't healthy. It was like so. Then our open week, just trying to keep that edge and not trying to go like, all right, on that Thursday, like our offense and defense, like we're gonna have a full on scrimmage out there at practice. And you would think like late in the year, like you're trying to like, make sure people are healthy and any of that. And like, man, we were talking so much crap. The players were talking so much crap to one another. We get out there, and I kid you not, like third play, we ran the quarterback because our running back at the time, our quarterback at the time, that was a big part of our offense, the quarterback run game. I mean, he was very much like another running back playing quarterback, and we ran Q counter, and he rips up in there, and he gets into open field with our D1, defensive back, and they're 1-on-1 in the open field, and you would think like he would try to juke him or make him move, and like there had been so much crap being taught, like the two of those guys 1-on-1, he's like, no, I'm going to try to run him over. Well, he goes to try to run over our D1 guy, and he wasn't a D1 guy. Who won the battle, the D1 defensive back.
Yeah.
Just absolutely smoked him. And then in that process, our starting quarterback broke his hand with like 4 weeks into the season. Now, granted, practice ended right there in that moment. Now, we went on to win all but one game that year. We won 3 out of the last 4. And again, obviously through that, the defense had to really help us out through that. We went from, and we went from beating, running, clocking everyone to like, yeah, we were winning by 2 touchdowns now. Obviously, we lost to Crestview. But again, that just goes to show you just how competitive we were. Like we had a state champion caliber team, and in our open week, like we're going after it like it's, spring practice, and guys are out there trying to earn spots for playing time out there on the field. But like that was just the energy that Coach Hicks brought to work every single day, and it spilled over into everybody. And if you didn't have that mindset, and you didn't come to work with that mindset, you probably weren't gonna make it around there very long, because that was just the expectation that how we went about our work.
You carry a lot of that with you now?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's just, again, that's what I'm so like at the time it was really hard. It was really, really hard. But like again, like anything else, like things that are hard, like they help mold you and shape you into what you are. Like I'm so appreciative for that time of how to build a high school football team, what it takes to be successful, the discipline, the accountability, the organization. Coach Hicks was one of the most organized coaches that I've ever been around. And like people don't see that on Friday nights, but like those are things looking back on that I'm extremely appreciative of. As hard as it was, that I got to be a part from that and got to learn from those experiences, and everything that Niceville football was during that time, that like I try to bring into what Mosley football is today. And again, I think when you look at Mosley football and Niceville football, like again, the kids and the programs are very eerily similar, and from my standpoint, very eerily similar to one of them. And again, just taking the blueprint that he helped mold for over 19 years and getting to work for it the last 6 years, of taking that blueprint and just try to put that into what Mosley football is today.
So I do want to get into ending up at Mosley? Because obviously you go from Niceville to Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
You spent, was it 2 years at Booker T?
Yeah, 2 years there.
2 years there.
Yeah.
You get the call from Mosley, or what? Did you call Mosley or they call you?
No, they called me.
Okay.
They definitely did, and I mean that's to me a whole story in itself. Like if you would have, when I got into my coaching career, especially when I went into high school football, if you would have said, hey, like, in your crystal ball, like, what do you want to do? I would have said, man, I want to be the head football coach in Niceville. Like that would have been my dream. That would be my goal.
I'm coming back to that.
And like for things that were in my control and things that were out of my control, like just the stars didn't align and it didn't work out. And so obviously I had to go and blaze my own trail. Uh, Getting a head coaching job, it was one of the hardest experiences of my life. You would think like, oh, offensive coordinator in Niceville, we're having all this success. Like, oh, I should just walk into a head coaching position. And my experience, was not that. I mean, I interviewed before I got my first head coaching job. I interviewed for close to 30 head coaching jobs.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so and I had interviewed everywhere in the Panhandle, and I was back around on round 2 to the point where heck, I was interviewing up in Alabama, I was interviewing down in Sarasota, Florida. I was interviewing all over the place. Now again, with my personality type, there was things that I had to fix and change about me to be able to win an interview. Somebody who is, naturally not a big talker, and I had to learn to sell myself and sell my vision. And because any high school that takes a chance on you for that first job, I mean, you have no true background of work to say, hey, this is what that program's going to look like, and
right.
they're going to literally have to take a chance on you. And it just took, for me and my personality, it took me a long time to work that out. And it's like anything else, the thing that I learned from that process is at first, I would have people call on my behalf to those schools about, hey, here's Tommy Joe, he's a great coach, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But from through that, I was like, heck, I'm the one who wants the job. I got to be the person.
Yeah, you got to sell.
I got to be the person that's selling myself and selling and it just took me a while to work through that. I was extremely thankful that Booker T took a chance on me when I took the Booker T job. They had gone 0-10 the year before and had 13 consecutive losing seasons. And I tell this, when you get your first head coaching job, it's going to be a bad job. Very rarely do you get to walk into a great situation. And I was again, as a young coach, I was completely delusional, thinking that I was going to walk into a good situation for my first head coaching job. Now, obviously, you learn that over time, but yeah, I mean, I went to Booker T. We went 8-2 my first year there, and it's crazy to think that they went 0-10 the year before, because we had a lot of really good players there. We had a defensive end that signed with Arkansas. We had a nose man that signed with FAMU. We had a linebacker that played at Wake Forest. We had a 6'5" receiver that had multiple offers. I mean, we had a lot of really good players, and it was more about just the organization and all of that. And obviously, I had 2 really good years there, and Mosley, had an opening and called to see if I would be interested. And as I got into that, I was like, well, man, if I'm not going to get the Niceville job, what other jobs that are out there that I feel have the blueprint and have things that I think I can take that job and I can turn that job into, quote unquote, like the Niceville job. And from afar, I felt like Mosley was one of those places that you could be able to do that. I didn't know that. I just felt like it had that potential. And, obviously fast forward, 6 years later, I feel like we've definitely done those things to make this program, separate itself from other programs in Northwest Florida.
No, I agree. I went to Mosley. It was a lot less cool back then.
Yeah.
You get to do a YouTube football broadcast.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. So you called Mosley a sleeping giant when you went in. So you said that was just a gut feeling that you walked in through the doors. You meet everybody. Was it Doug Lee that interviewed you?
Yeah.
He was the AD at the time. you step onto the field for the first time at Mosley. You meet your first group of guys. What's that like?
Man, I walked into a really good situation, you know, that first year. Obviously had Randy Pittman, Isaac Paul. We had some good players, and then but there was like a couple of things where like the stars just aligned. Like Cole Horton, um, who was not on the team the year before. I didn't even know who Cole was. Like I showed up, you know, not really knowing who the quarterback was going to be, and they're like, "Hey, there's this kid that transferred from Arnold. He played football over there, but he's saying he's just going to focus on baseball here at Mosley." And I was like, "Well, I want to meet him." And taught me. I remember going meeting, getting Cole out of class and talking to him, and he was kind of on the fence, but. The crazy part was the year before at Arnold, like he played wide receiver, and Josiah, who was the quarterback, he had transferred over too. He was the quarterback, and I told Cole, I was like, no, like, you're going to play quarterback, and Josiah's going to play receiver, and and he was definitely interested in wanting to play quarterback, and so I kind of painted that picture for him, and because he was just oozing with just natural athleticism. Now, the thing that was tough about that first year with Cole was that Cole obviously was a big baseball player and was doing travel baseball all summer. And that first summer, like heck, I think he only made about like 8 workouts. So we really didn't know what we had outside that he could spin it and he was an athlete. And then as the season kind of unfolded, you just got to see what his natural athleticism, was, as a football player. And but yeah, no, we definitely had a good team, and we just started winning, and obviously had a great year, making it to the third round of the playoffs that first year.
So you obviously you had crazy success that first year, probably beyond what you could imagine at the time. But it also was a very challenging first year. And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording because I wanted to gauge your comfort level a little bit. You had a young man, Avery Sanders, unfortunately passed away your first year. You're the head coach of these young men who some of them don't have parental figures in their life, but for some of them, even with parental figures, like you are, you coaches like to say, like, I'm your daddy when you're here, right? What is something like that like as a head coach, or really just as an adult, as a leader to address, especially in your first year?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a very, very tough situation. Heck, I mean, when you become a head coach, there's no book that they hand you to like, all right, hey, this situation happens, you got to go, like, this is how you handle it. Like, we're just figuring it out on the fly. And so at that time, my first year at Mosley, heck, that was only my third year as a head football coach, and I had never dealt with anything like this before. And I can still remember getting a phone call at about 11:30 that night. Miss Gwen, she called me, and that was she was an English teacher.
Missy Gwen, I've known her for 25 years.
Yeah, she was an English teacher at Mosley at the time, and her and Avery had a really good connection. Again, Avery had dealt with some things in his personal life, and Miss Gwen was always kind of there for him. And she called me, just crying hysterically, to let me know that Avery had passed away in that motorcycle deal. And so it was tough. I mean, as you can imagine, that Avery was he was loved by his teammates. Avery was definitely unique. If you were to look up an encyclopedia like what a biker guy looked like that's what like Avery's picture would popped up. He had a mohawk that kind of went to a ponytail. He would dye his hair different colors. He'd wear like a black leather jacket, black boots, ripped jeans. He had his ears pierced, and like he would always have like the craziest earrings in the world. Most of the time, his earrings were a chain of paper clips. is what his but like he was definitely like a unique individual. But like that's the beautiful thing about football. Like football brings people from all different walks of life and brings them together, because like on the football field, like you earn your respect by what you do at practice on a daily basis. And why Avery was a different dude, and unconventional football player, if you want to word it that way. Like he was respected and loved by his teammates, and everybody was definitely distraught from that situation. Looking back on, I want to say it was like a Saturday, Sunday that he passed away, and then I made the decision to play that game that Friday. I asked his parents, and obviously got their blessing on it. We were undefeated at the time, and obviously the kids were distraught. And I was trying, in my mind, I thought like if we just keep the routine normal, and like that would maybe help us like keep some sense of normalcy. Obviously we lost the game. We played like absolute crap that Friday night. Understandably why,
You
looking
remember who
back.
that was against?
Yeah, we played Gadsden County.
That's the kind of
Yeah, and and they were like we were undefeated. I want to say they were like a 4-5, like 500, level team. Don't get me wrong, they had really good players, but at the same time, man, we played terrible. And like looking back on it, like man, I probably we probably shouldn't have not played the game, because just the mental state that all of our kids were in that time. And but like you live and you learn, and obviously we lost the game. The next day, either Saturday or Sunday, we went to his funeral service in Crawfordville, and it was definitely a tough, sad situation. But from that we started the Avery Sanders Scholarship. So, and every year since his passing, we give out a $500 scholarship to a Mosley football player that, to me, like represented the things that Avery stood for: tough, hardworking, hard nosed, had the respect, of his teammates. A little bit different, type of kid. And this past year we gave it to Holden. And I think if you got to know Holden, he's got definitely a unique, story to him as well. He had overcome some things in his personal life, and I thought Holden definitely, represented what Avery stood for, and he earned that scholarship, this year in Avery's honor.
So, 2022, you've got guys like Randy Pittman,
Yeah.
Cam Keys, kind of just coming into his own. We call him IP3, but Isaac Paul is
Yeah.
at Kennesaw State now.
Right.
Uh, you've got guys like that, and then they leave. And so the expectation, at least not, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
not from your standpoint,
Yeah.
but from our standpoint as commentators, because 2022 was our first
Yeah.
year. Well, 2023 will probably be rough.
Yeah.
Well, then it seems like you have a better team the year after.
Yeah.
2024, same situation. You have guys like Lakevion Jackson,
Yeah.
guys like Sammy Freitas on the
Yeah.
team. They're gone.
Yeah.
And you go into 2025, and we're talking up in the booth, but before the season starts, I feel like this is a rebuilding year for
Yeah.
Mosley. You got a new quarterback. He's
Yeah.
a sophomore, young kid. You're replacing a 3-year starter in Sammy Freitas, 4-year starter in Sammy Freitas, right? 3-year starter.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy for that kid. But then you go to the second round
Yeah.
of the state tournament, and you have an opportunity to win that game.
Yeah.
So how do you keep that? How do you keep that standard alive? How are you able to accomplish that at a high school?
Oh yeah. I mean, it goes back. I mean, the year you're leaving out an important year, my second year, that we went 5-5.
So okay. So let's talk about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
that was the
so-
2022 season.
Yeah, I mean, like again, failure is the greatest teacher. It's going back to that theme what I talked about, like talking about these kids and going through adversity and learning from the mistakes that you made. I mean, that principle to me applies to everybody, applies to myself. And so that first year, we had so much success. We went 11-2, third round of the playoffs, and like you're just wanting to ride that wave of momentum and build off that year. And like the thing that I learned from a coach is every year, and we did not do this my second year, is like you got to start. Every team's a new team, and you got to literally start all the way back over at zero and build it from there. And I didn't do that my second year. Instead of starting at point A, let's say we started at point D or at, like, we skipped over, in my opinion, looking back on it, just important fundamental things that we needed to go through as a football team in developing mental toughness and hard work and discipline and accountability. And at the end of the day, it wasn't the kids, that was my fault. And because that year that we went 5-5 and we still had Randy, we still had Cam, we still had we still had good players on that football team. Hey, you remember that year we lost to Niceville and we were up, 21-7 on them, and we let the game get away from us, and it just, we didn't do things that I felt like that made us mentally tough in those tough situations. So then you look back at that and like, hey man, we're not going to let this happen again. So then from that, it forced myself and our assistants to completely rewrite the blueprint for like, what is Mosley football? What do we want it to stand for? And like, we don't want this to happen again. And regardless of what pieces are out there on the field, like Mosley football's got to be Mosley football regardless. And so after that season,
I want to tell you a story about the Niceville game that year. Just before you keep going, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if you even know this story, but we were still radio only at the time. But that Niceville game in 2022 was also like a big learning experience for us.
Yeah.
Because we got stuck on we were just kind of going where they told us at the time.
Yeah.
So we were sitting on the home side, but we were up right there to the right of their press box, and we had maybe 5 feet of room, and it was myself and David Hayes, and we were both like trying to squeeze in behind their camera people. We called half the game through the windows on the left side, looking through the door, through the window into the press box. I don't know if you ever knew that story, but
no,
I still feel like we called a hell of a game, but that was when we were like, we're gonna just start sitting on the visiting side.
But yeah, after that season, we went out and visited Highland Park High School in Dallas, Texas. And I did some research because I've gone and visited other schools, but like I wanted, a school that I thought was winning at a high level, that was representative of something that was very similar to what Mosley football was. And I did some research, and going out there, Highland Park at that time had won 3 state championships in a row. I don't know if you know about Highland Park, but it is one of the most affluent places in the entire country. Like Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, like those are the type of people that live in Highland Park.
Jeez.
And like when you have that type of affluent, that doesn't normally equal winning high school football games at an extremely high level. So we went out there and we spent 3-4 days with them and what they do and how they do things and how they develop their players, and we brought a lot of those things back to Mosley football as kind of our foundational blueprint of like, hey, this is how we're going to build the program moving forward. And that's that model. No, don't get me wrong. I think every year, after every season, there's something within the program that you have to tweak, you have to change. I tell the kids all the time, you either evolve or you die. And we always looking for little things that we can change in our program that I feel like we can improve upon, and whether that's stuff on the field or off the field, and we try to do that every single year with our program. This past season it was our strength and conditioning program. The year before it was the social media stuff. The year before that, off the field, it was taking the radio broadcast and bringing it to a YouTube broadcast. Like there's just, so many different things that we're constantly trying to evolve and change with our program to just get it to that level to where, we're a brand that's not just recognized regionally, but is recognized across the entire state of Florida.
You need people to buy in for that vision too. So, yes. I mean, and obviously we'll come back to shouting out the sponsors and everybody later, but you can't do that alone. You got to have people that buy into that vision, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like you have to have people that are behind the scenes, that are working to we're painting this vision of what we want Mosley football to be, but then you got to have people that go out and help you execute that vision on a daily basis. And I think our booster club at Mosley football is second to none. I put it up against.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd put that up against anybody. Obviously, they put in a ton of work for the love of Mosley football and trying to help execute the vision of what we want it to look like, and do a great job in taking a lot of the pressure off me in the fundraising and doing all of those type of things. I think, and Leanne Fleming, the amount of work that she does, from obviously you get to see it you know, in the role that you're in and the amount of work and the things that she does for our program is second to none. But like again, kind of going back to like Coach Hicks, like why he was so great is because of like how organized and detailed Leanne is the exact same way. I mean, just her organization, her detail on everything, whether it's our budget, whether it's organizing travel for, you know, playoff trip. She is, you know, she is second to none. And then also too, just her passion that she has and willing to fight the fight on things that, you know, we may not feel like or agree with within the county. Like she's not scared to speak up or speak her voice on, you know, on things that you know, that we need to change to help our program go in the direction that we is. And just again, I think she's and we're just truly blessed to have her, you know, part of Mosley football. Another person is Jason Land.
Absolutely.
He was, you know, he was our booster club president in the past. But like all of his, you know, all the graphics and the social media he does, like he helps, you know, create that vision from the outside world into what Mosley football is. Obviously, you know, you deal with Jason a lot on the radio side and the YouTubes. Like again, you can see same thing, like his attention to detail, his work ethic. You know, not wanting just to do things, but wanting to do things the right way and understanding that like this is like for somebody, you know, outside of Bay County, whether it's our website, whether it's the social media, like this is going to be somebody's introduction into Mosley football, and he wants to make, you know, he wants to make that thing right. Like again with his graphics, like, you know, he sends me things like, all right, man, just like be on it. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And you know, again, like I truly like I love the graphic stuff. Like if I wasn't coaching football, like sometimes I wish I could just sit there and make graphics all day because I thoroughly enjoy it. And like I give Jason ideas, and he has a ton of great ideas on his own. But again, he does a great job um, for our program. Another guy is Jason Reagan as well. He's our current president, and you want to talk about like a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. Like that's like, hey, that's but like, and when you're trying to build a program and you're trying to, and we have a budget, but we don't have a budget like some places do, like in Alabama. Like for his ability to know, like, oh, I know a guy that can help us do this, or oh, I know a guy, you know, that can help us in this situation. Like, I mean, it's so important to have people like that. Or if he doesn't know, like he's going to go out of his way to find a solution to like whatever problem that we have within our program. And like just like those three people, you know. And again, there's tons of others, you know, in building this program. You know, I think Mr. Bullock and Coach Lee, you know, at the top.
None of it's possible without that.
Without them, it starts with them. Obviously, when they first hired me, you know, what 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, like they had a vision for what they wanted this program to look like, and they explained it to me. And obviously, I had a vision that aligned with theirs. And again, like they helped me go out and execute that and give us the resources and help us get coaches and do all those different types of things to make Mosley football, you know, successful and to help it get to where the level it's on right now.
So I have to ask about this because you mentioned a few times that Niceville was your dream job.
Yeah.
Last year, the opening happens.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and admittedly, myself included, I'll just tell you face to face, like when that day came, we were like, okay, well, here we go. Like this is moment of truth. Did that call happen, and why didn't you go?
Yeah. So first off, in all of this, like I'm extremely in my style of leadership. I'm extremely transparent in everything that I do. Like if like with our kids, like I want them to not have the fear of failure in anything that they do. I tell our kids all the time. So guess who's going to make the most mistakes in Mosley football? Say me, like because I have the most decisions. I'm not going to make them all right. I'm not scared to make those decisions. And like through that transparency, like yes, all the kids, they know at one point in time, Coach Whiddon, guess what job he wanted? Like they all know that I wanted the Niceville job.
Right.
And like I don't hide that. I don't disguise that from them whatsoever. But like through that process, like, um, there's there's a lot of things that you weigh through that scenario. Like we play them first and foremost. Like I like winning. Like we play them on all levels. I know my team. I know their team. You know, like first and foremost, like I like my team more than I like their team. Like last year, we swept them on all three levels. I feel like right now in Mosley football, in its current state right now, we have the most amount of good players that we've ever had in Mosley football. Now it's taken 5 years to build that, and like that's a really hard thing to walk away from when you've worked so hard to build something and and make it your own. And so, I mean, I would say that would like right there. That's like the first thing about it, and then like then it gets to like the real like the thing like the financial part of it. Like I have you know a great job at Mosley. I'm fortunate enough to where my wife has a great job, and you know the amount of money that would be like it doesn't. It's not like my kids are in a great school. I got a great interest rate on my house. Like all of those type things uh, don't make it where it's worth to pick up and move
Right.
to go an hour down the road. And
You're uprooting a lot more now.
yeah, there's a lot more than like, hey, we're just going to go pick up and go coach somewhere else. And like also too, like a thing that's really important to me is loyalty, and like I'm going to be loyal to the people that were loyal to me. And there's obviously Mosley, took a chance on me, and Mosley at that time probably caught a lot of flack, from a lot of different places when they hired me. And again, I know that, I understand all that, and I'm appreciative of that. And I'm very mindful of that when I come to work every single day. Definitely a time that like, hey, I gotta make Mr. Bullock and Coach Lee, look good in the decision that they made. Um, and so yeah, there were some tough times, but you got through all of that stuff, and we've got it to like where it is. And like I said, like I like where we're at as a program. And again, I didn't want to walk away from that.
Well, happy you didn't.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. I want to get you out of here relatively soon, just because I know you got the baseball day games tonight. You got to get ready for that mentally, physically. I do want to ask you about the upcoming season, and then we'll get into gratitude and wrap this thing up.
Well, I mean, yeah, like their game's not till 6, so like.
So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So got a big season coming up.
Yeah.
There's some expectation that has been built. You're gonna have second year JP at quarterback. Sammy Chisholm, you've got him another year. You're bringing back a lot of guys who were a part of the program last year that were impact players.
Right.
But you're losing some guys. You're losing, and I say this every season, but you're losing guys like Wyatt Fleming, one of the best linebackers probably in the state of Florida, truthfully. And I don't know if he ever got the love that he deserved,
right?
Statewide, but the kid was on every single play.
Right.
You're losing Adam Land,
right?
SEC tight end,
right?
So what is when you're replacing those guys? What goes into that? I know it's probably a hard question to answer because I kind of winged that one on the spot, but like how do you address those positions?
Yeah, so like truthfully, like we don't even look at it to start from an X's and O's standpoint. Like the thing that when I'm talking to my team about replacing those guys, like the thing that we're trying to replace in them is leadership, and just hard nosed, tough physicality. Didn't care about the circumstance of the ball game. Like those guys were going to play whether they were up 50 or whether they were down 50. Like they were going to play the same regardless. So like that's the first thing that we're trying to replace in that. And again, like we've challenged some guys, but like having guys like that in today's world, it's really, really hard. And just like how you have to build guys to be able to block and tackle, and like you have to build leadership in that same vein every single day. You have to attack it every single day. Like I tell our kids all the day, like we're not going to magically show up on Friday night and just turn into leaders. Like you have to work it every single day, because like if you don't lead and you don't do those things on a daily basis, and then you magically start doing it on Friday night, then everybody's going to see you as a fraud. And like those were the first, like those are the things that we're working through, right now, and like replacing those type guys is from a leadership, toughness, accountability standpoint. And then we got to figure out ways to replace them, on the field. And like we've got guys that I feel like are doing a great job, defensively, and replacing Wyatt is Kane Colbert. Like when I go to Kane, like the first thing that I'm challenging Kane on and replacing Wyatt is just his football IQ. Like the thing that made Wyatt so great, obviously as an undersized linebacker. No matter, he's very physical, and he wasn't the fastest guy in the world. But I explained this, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like I would rather have a linebacker whose brain operates at a 4.5 and runs a 5 flat than a guy who has a brain that operates at 5 flat and runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
And like that, because you can make your ability to diagnose, to recognize, and your ability to process, makes up for that, that lack of speed. I feel like Kane this spring has done a great job of that. Now, does he have a ways to go? Yes. The thing I'm really challenging Kane on now is his ability to lead. The thing I'm trying to get him to understand is your ability to lead is directly relational to your ability to serve others. And like that's something that Kane is having to work through, putting his teammates before himself. It's really, again, in the world that we live in today, that is an extremely hard concept for kids to understand. But Kane's going to get there. Kane's extreme. He's a 4.3 GPA. He's super smart. His ability to process, like he's going to get there. I have all the confidence he's going to get there. Right now, Adam's replacement at tight end is
hard to find one.
No,
I know
my mind's gone. No, my mind's gone. Is Tanner Page?
Okay.
Yeah. Tanner has done. Tanner had a great spring for us. Obviously, he didn't get a full spring because of baseball, but he got out there the last week and a half, made some great plays. Made some great plays in our spring game, and we're excited about Tanner's his potential. Obviously, he's a great natural pass catcher of the football. But the thing that we're challenged is again just that physical toughness. Like Adam, like he was the type of kid that like he was not scared to fight anybody. Now I'm not expecting Tanner to go out there and just start fighting every kid, but like just having that physical at the point of attack. Like that's what that's what we need out of Tanner Page, is being physical, at the line of scrimmage, out of the point of attack. Yeah, you're going to catch balls. Yes, you're going to make plays in the passing game. But like you got to be able to do the things that aren't sexy. Get in there, digging out C gap, and winning reps at the point of attack. And so like those are the things that like when we go into the season, like I'm confident in our ability to coach guys, to score points, to make plays. But like the things that I can't coach, or the things that I can't do, like I can't make you become a lead. Like I can't make you lead. I can't make you want to do that. Like I can't make you be tough. Like you have to do that. It's a coach. A thing that our college coach used to say that, and I say it to our players. Like I'm not the wizard. Like I'm not the. I can't give you courage.
Right.
Like I can't give you the. Like you have to find these things, within yourself. Now don't get me wrong. We're here to help you. And we're going to assist you through that. But like you have to find those things within you, and you have to bring those things to the table. Because if you don't bring those to the table yourself, then your teammates are going to see that. They're going to pick up on that, and they're going to see me as the coach trying to force that. Like I'm going to come across as a fraud, and the kid's going to come across as a fraud as well. And like those are the things that we are definitely trying to work through. Like anything else, we have good days, we have bad days with it. But like the biggest thing is just being consistent about it every single day. It's like we're not like massively big on goals. Like yeah, we set goals, but then we put them away, and then we just put our head down and go to work, and let's find out where we are 6 months from now.
I had a coach growing up that always said like the best goal you can accomplish is the one that you don't set.
Yeah.
Like the one that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And then you realize you sit back at the end of the day and you're like, wow, look at what I did today.
Yeah.
Like, because then you don't. I guess when you don't get the other ones, it doesn't hurt as much. Want to jump back to last year. I'm just thinking these questions on the spot now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of gone into analyst mode.
Yeah.
The game at Arnold, Adam goes down. I mean, not first play of the game because we're not even from scrimmage yet. The opening kickoff.
Yeah.
Adam Land goes down. You lose. I mean, your centerpiece of the offense because everything ran through Adam. Even though JP's the quarterback. Now this is strictly analyst. Color commentary view. Like everything ran through Adam. Like the runs went his way. The screen passes were through him. He was obviously JP grew up with him. How do you adjust to that?
Oh, I mean, it was definitely not ideal in that moment when it happened, and kind of just seeing the way it went. Like, man, like you just had like a knot in your stomach. Like, man, this doesn't, like again, Adam's so tough, so hard nosed, and like when you see him upset and he's like, that led me think like, oh man, this injury could be serious because normally he's the type of kid that if there's like something wrong, like his finger could be sideways, and you're like, I'm going back in like next play, and when he wasn't like that, I was like, man, there's. Like I said, there could be something seriously wrong. Well, just again, it forced. Again, going back as a football, like, what do we want to sit there and cry about it that our best player got hurt? Like, It goes back to like you either evolve or you die, and it forced us in a very short amount of time to evolve as an offense. Caleb Capps, had to come in as an undersized tight end, and use him to the best that we to his strengths the best that we possibly could. It forced us to move Fletcher from the slot, and like now he's got to be a little bit more in-line type stuff where he really wasn't doing that type of stuff before. Obviously, Tanner Page got in there and got some opportunities. The biggest thing I think, if you notice after that, is kind of what we did with Carson. Before Carson was always outside, and then when Adam got injured, it forced us now to kind of move Carson, now the offense is going to go through Carson as our primary weapon now, like to move him around. Heck, Carson, at 185, he was tough and hard nosed. Like we used him like in some wing tight end sets, and and then like through that, you don't know it at the time, but like when you get through the season, like the defensive coordinator at Lincoln is one of my best friends, and like after the season was over, like me and him talking, he's like, man, he goes, yeah, I know y'all. He goes, man, I know Adam got hurt for y'all. That sucked. He's like, but when y'all lost him and then y'all started moving Carson around, he's like, man, it made it so hard to defend y'all because like we never knew exactly where he was going to be. And Carson being a wide receiver, like he would get in there and do some gritty, tough, like tight end stuff, and like it allowed him to set up to do some other things. And he was like, man, how'd y'all get Carson like as a wide receiver? Like most wide receivers, labeled prima donna. They don't want to do the dirty work. I said, man, that's just like Jamie Holstenbeck does a great job in coaching those guys. And like, hey, this is what we got to do. And I think for the long run of Carson's career, I think it's going to play out for his benefit because he's not scared to get in there and do some of the dirty work because of the things that we ask him to do. And I think you really saw him flourish, the tail end of the season, because we had to evolve and move him around. And like I said, he did a great job in that role.
So you mentioned, obviously you're an offensive guy. So you're a tight ends coach. You love offense. Every year at Mosley, your defenses are the talking point.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what everyone's looking at. That's where your stars have been really. Like that's where your guys have been their best. So like, what goes into that?
Yeah, so like I have in mind, like as much as I am an offensive coach, like I know what wins football games as defense.
Right.
So like we are always like our best players at Mosley, even if they're going to play defense. Like Coach Killitz does an unbelievable job running our defense. Like he knows how I am about offense, and like I have to play like at first like when we first got in that role of Carson playing so much defense. Heck, he was our best wide receiver, but he's also starting for us at safety and playing a lot of safety. Like I'm telling, I don't like these. Like these guys are much your guys. They are my guys. Like play these guys on defense. Like play Fletcher on defense. You saw last year, Adam Land played snaps, on defense. And I think if you're going to win football games at a high level, like we're not going to win games with our best players standing over there on the sideline. It's high school football.
Yeah.
Heck, 20 years ago, everybody played both ways, like
every down.
Yeah, played every single down. Like that's like the players haven't changed. The game hasn't, like just people's thought process and mindset has changed. Now we're not going to play them every single snap, but like when it's critical situations, we are going to try to find ways, to get our best 11 on the field. But like when it comes to me in defense, like I'm so entrenched on the offensive side of the ball, like I'm not. With my conversation with Coach Killitz, the biggest things are number one is like personnel, like who we need to play in certain spots, and then just things that give us problems offensively, like hey, this team did this, or I saw this. Hey, is there a way that we can incorporate this into our defensive scheme? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But like when I go over to the defense side of the ball, like I'm coaching one thing and one thing only. That's effort. Just guys flying around, playing hard, great stances. I tell this to our defense all the time. When I turn on the tape and watch defense, the first thing that I'm looking for is what kind of stances the defense is in. If I see 11 guys in great stances, that tells me, oh crap, like this is about to be a good football team. Because if a coach is willing to put an attention to detail and line something that's very, most people don't even think about, do I have the proper alignment? Are my hips synced? Am I in proper techniques? That says a lot about you as a football coach. Like when I see guys over there standing around straight-legged, not locked in, ready to go, like that gives me a lot of confidence, offensively as a football coach. And like so when I get over the defense, like that's the thing that I'm harping on most is how we get lined up, what our stances look like, and when the ball snaps, like there better be 11 guys just screaming to the football. And if you don't play hard, then I can promise you, guess what you are not going to do? You ain't going to play.
Yeah.
Because like that's just what we are going to be about in Mosley football. And like again, like when people come to watch us play, like yeah, we're gonna win some, we're gonna lose some. But when people walk out of that stadium, like I just want people to have a respect for the way that we play the game of football. Because people like nobody's going to go undefeated every single year, but like the thing that people I feel like respect in anything that you do is people that work hard and people that play hard, and like that's what like I want people to walk away from our football games is just having an appreciation for how hard that we play the game of football.
And I will say, man, going to the spring game this year over at Tommy Oliver, it was like the defense was swarming.
Yeah.
I mean, every time somebody would touch the ball, there was just everybody was around them. Crack, 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 crack. And I even went up and sat in the booth for a little bit just to say I did, and you could just hear every play up there. And obviously, it's a lot more quiet than it is on a standard Friday night with the sound of the Southland down there. But those guys, man, they already seem like they're so good, and I don't think you have everybody on them.
Yeah, I really feel good about us on the defensive side of the ball. I think we got some guys like you said that can run around and make plays for us. Time will tell whether it's our best front seven, but like I think we have a chance to be really good
in the front. Robert Fleming says
in the front seven. Like we just got guys that can really run and get after the quarterback. Now I will say this. And the offense's defense in that scrimmage over there, Tommy Oliver, and like so, over the past 3-4 years, we've averaged 40 points a game, and I could probably say there's not very many practices that we walked away from where the offense did better than the defense. And the reason behind that, it's just natural. Like when you practice against the same people every single day, like the defense, and I talk so much crap to them about this. They learn our plays. I get them all. They'll try to sneak over there. They learn our signals. I try to get over there. But this is what I tell the offensive guys. It's like if we can get to where we can execute versus our defense, when they know what we're doing, like, hey, if we get 5 yards versus our defense, like I'm thinking in my mind, like that's going to be a 10 or 15-yard gain on Friday night when the team doesn't know exactly what we are doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
And just trying to make things for us offensively, like, is hard as it possibly can be. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of days where I walk away like really pissed off from practice. But again, I think that in the long run, I think that's what ultimately makes us better as an offense is just having to work that much harder in practice. Not only because our defense is talented first and foremost, but B, like anything else, when they've seen this formation over the course of the season, like they've seen it 100 times, like they know what's coming at them before the balls. And like anything, like if you knew what was coming, like you're going to, everybody wants to be successful, like you're going to try to set yourself up for success. And again, it just forces us offensively to have to execute on a daily basis at an extremely high level.
Who are some new faces that you're, well, maybe not new, but like just guys that are going to be propelled into higher spots this year that you're really excited about?
Yeah, so like first, like Khalil Lauderdale, like you saw how he came on, you know, there at the tail end of the season. Khalil was an extremely talented freshman, um, and Khalil was working through kind of learning the offense, knowing what to do. But heck, you saw in the Mainland game, like we checked down a pass to him, he takes it 50 yards versus a defense that's got a lot of dudes that can run on the field.
So yeah, they were tough too.
Yeah. You could just see his raw, natural ability. Heck, Khalil picked up a Tulane and a South Alabama offer after our spring game over there.
Jeez.
So yeah, I think he's got Khalil's got a ton of potential. Caleb Capps, he kind of played a tight end role for us last year. We're moving him to outside receiver. I think Capps is going to give us the versatility of he's a receiver, but he can also motion in back into the box and do some of that dirty tight end work, which will give us some multiple sets that we can do offensively. Obviously, JP and Sam did a great job. This spring, Jamarcus, is really going to get a chance to flourish as the primetime, receiver. Last year he was our number 4. Heck, shows you how great of a year JP had last year. He was our number 4 receiver and had 7 touchdowns, and close to 500 yards. And Mark is definitely going to fall into that role of what Carson was last year. I think he has that type of ability. And then up front on the offensive line, we started 3 sophomores last year, and those 3 guys are back with DeMarcus Smith, D. Jordan, and Jaron Jernigan. Did a great job. Dax Willis, he was on varsity and he played some last year. Dax is going to be great for us at right tackle, and then this spring, John Andrew Patterson, who's a freshman, going to be a rising sophomore. Played center for us in the spring. It's JP's first cousin, so we're excited about those guys. Julian Agers will come over and get some running back work for us from the defensive side of the ball. I think he's really going to be able to help us out. Young tight end, John Kutros. He's a 6'5" freshman. He picked up a South Alabama offer after the spring game as well. Just oozing with potential. Needs to, the physicality part of the game. Like, again, he can catch. He's big and pretty. He looks like, you saw him on the field, like, oh, that guy looks like a D1 tight end. But just like he's got to learn to be physical at the point of attack, and we're going to get him there. So those are guys on the offensive side of the ball that we're excited about. Defensively, Cole Archambault, 14 sacks. Just one of the hardest. And like this, going back to you were talking about how hard we play defensively. Like when your best players play hard every single play, like that sets the standard for everybody else. Cole has a extremely high motor, plays hard, had 14 sacks last year, and again just sets the tone for how we're going to play, on the defensive side of the ball.
I forgot he was coming back, and I texted Robert Fleming, and I'm like, dude, this number 8's confusing everybody.
No, he is. He throws us around in practice. He throws us around like rag dolls in practice.
He's abusive, and I love it.
Yeah, we went over there again, and our spring had a couple of sacks in our spring game over there at Fort Walton. Really got after it. Another guy I'm really excited about at corner is Kingston Paul. He started the first 3 games for us last year. He tore his meniscus, missed the rest of the season after week 3, but he's back. He's healthy. He looks dominant. He's got a couple of D1 offers. Picked up a South Alabama offer. Uh, uh, so excited about those guys. But like some unsung heroes on the defense side of the ball, like Kingston Dawson, undersized, nose guard, but man, just like quick as a cat and really creates problems. Yes, like you ask any offensive lineman, what would you rather block, a big guy or a little guy? They're going to tell you they'd rather block a big guy because they just don't move as well and there's a lot more to grab and hold on to. KD, and he's quick as a cat. His slanting, his ability to move up front, like man, he's done really good. And then we picked up 2 transfers. We picked up Eli Waldrop from Rutherford. He's going to play DN outside linebacker for us. Eli's 6'2", 220. I think he's got a real potential next year where y'all are going to be like, where the heck did this guy come from? He just is oozing with ability and potential, and we're excited about him. And then Charlie Carter came over from Arnold. And Arnold, he was more of as a nickel safety. We're moving him, inside to try to play that role that Wyatt Fleming did, for us. And we've liked what we've seen out of Charlie through spring. And like I said, with Eli and Charlie, they've only been with us now for 4 or 5 months, so we're learning them just like they're learning us. But there's a lot to like with those 2 guys. And then the biggest thing where I think we're kind of ahead in years past are just the guys that we have back there on the back end. We're always been nervous about some guys, like just as the whole unit, secondary. But like right now, I feel the best about our secondary coming into a season that I ever had. Gavin Malden had a pick in the spring game, has done a great job for us. Cody Colbert, Kane's twin brother, plays safety, and just you're talking about just 2 so it's a fun thing in coaching brothers with Kane and Cody. I mean, just the sibling rivalry that they have, just every single day.
You get to see a little bit of what you grew up with.
Yeah, you just they get at each other's throat, and and Cody is the younger of the 2 twins, so he has that pet prove the world wrong mentality that he brings, and he gets under people's skin on a daily basis and just causing fights and but again, as a coach, you love that type of mindset and what he brings to practice. Trip Moore, Talon's little brother, is taking over Talon's spot, and again, he brings athleticism that we're excited about. Trip will also be able to do some Wildcat quarterback stuff with us as well, because he's played quarterback through our program the entire time. And then Dawson Reed, out there playing corner. And if you've listened to Josh Allen, talking his stuff, that anytime he sees a white DB out there, he's going to do what he calls a milk check, and they're going to go at that white DB. And obviously Dawson out there playing corner, when we're in our spring game, I heard some coaches over my right side saying oh, Mosley, they got a white corner out there, they need to go at them, they need to go at him. And of course, Pine Forest did, and then 3 plays later, Dawson's got a pick. And Dawson is freakishly athletic. He's going to play corner for us. He'll play slot receiver for us. He'll play running back for us. He'll return kicks for us. Dawson is a book you definitely don't need to judge by its cover, because he can definitely play football, and he's a really good player.
About special teams, how you getting ready for that this year?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be a work in progress. Right now we got a couple of kids. That's kind of crazy in the world. When we're probably going to have more kickers than we've ever had. Obviously, not having a kicker. Right now we've got a couple of kids that want to come out and try to kick over the summer. So we've got 3 or 4 kids. We'll work that that situation out. Look, you've been enough of our games. We go for 2 a lot. We're pretty aggressive on special teams. I tell whoever's going to be the kicker, they want to get out there and I can make 40, 50 yard. I don't we ain't kicking a whole lot of 40, 50. I want to make sure we make every single one of our extra points.
Yeah.
And if we can make one, inside the red zone, then that's icing on the cake. Because again, I think where we are offensively, anytime we're in 4th and medium to short on plus territory, we're probably going to go for it on fourth down. Like that's one things I love about watching the UFL. Like when they cross the 50-yard line, there's no punt, there's no punts. I think you're going to see a lot more of that just in all levels of football. Just a lot more aggressiveness, on fourth down. I would think from a punting standpoint, Gavin Malden is probably going to end up being our punter. He was our last year. He was our long snapper / backup punter. Probably Tanner Page will end up being our long snapper, and Malden will end up being our punter. But again, just like two guys that are athletic kids that can do a lot of different stuff on the football field. But yeah, that's one of the things that we are definitely going to have to get worked out over the summer is seeing who's going to fill those roles for us on special teams.
It's going to be a long summer, but I know you're looking forward to the grind, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you're going to put on the field this year.
Yeah, no, definitely excited about that.
Happy to be just a small part of it, man. All right, so in closing, I like to ask everybody that I bring onto the show, because gratitude is such an important part of my life.
Yeah.
Many times in life, I feel that we get locked in on the things that we don't have,
Right.
and we lose track of the things that we do. So, Coach, I'm going to ask you 3 things that you're grateful for in your life right now.
Oh, first and foremost is my wife. We touched on it already. Like in coaching a program as large as we have at Mosley and having 150 kids growing, I think there's a real possibility a year from now we could be 175 to 200 kids. Just the amount of kids that are wanting to play football at Mosley. You just get pulled in a lot of different directions, like year round, and football never stops. And not that I want it to ever stop. I love it. I enjoy it. But like to be able to do it and to run the program, like my wife, again, has to wear a lot of different hats and take on a lot of different roles. So I'm just extremely appreciative for all that she does for my family. Number 2 are my boys. Again, same thing. Like I have to be very intentional with my time with my boys. And one of my personal biggest fears in my life is not helping them get to where they need to be as young men because I did too much with Mosley football. And again, it forces me to be extremely organized and extremely intentional about that time. Again, I'm proud of them more so than anything, like with what they're doing in school and both of them making all A's. Like that means the world to me that they're putting in the work and in the classroom and doing what they're supposed to do. And the last thing that I'm extremely grateful for is just having a job that I love coming to work to every single day. That's huge because I've been in a situation before where just people didn't care, or you're just like, man, I really don't want to go to work today for whatever the reason may be. But to come to work, to be excited to work, and then also have assistant coaches, having kids, having administration, having a faculty and staff that are excited about Mosley football and also have real expectations. Like everybody wants and expects Mosley to win. Like I love that. Like that makes me feel good. Like I would hate coming to a work where everybody's like, well, if we win Friday night, yeah. Like no, like people are pissed if we lose. Like that's the way it needs to be. Like, hell, why did you not do this or why did we not do that? Like, yeah, those are tough questions you have to answer. But that's part of the job. But like that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it exciting, is that people, are starting to care about Mosley football as much as I care about it. And again, I'm extremely grateful to have that to come to work to every single day.
So you get the love side of it, but you also get the accountability side of it too. It's a good job that you love coming into, that your people are going to support you, but they're also going to hold you accountable.
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of people that get get butt hurt when somebody asks them a tough question or like, why'd you do, like, man, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, first off, like I guarantee before you or somebody's asking me that question, I've asked it to myself.
You probably thought
I've asked it to myself. And but again, like if you don't have that, then that just means people don't care. And when people don't care, they're not going to go out of their way to try to make the program the best that it possibly can be. So like whenever you have a situation where people aren't asking you those, like that's like a telltale sign that like, man, things aren't good around here because like people think like you lost the game and like nobody's care. Like when you lose, everybody should be pissed off that you lost because Like we didn't do something to the expectations that everybody has for us.
I've always said that it's fun to strive for perfection because it's unachievable. So
Yeah.
you're always having something to chase. The best example I can always think of is Tom Brady said one time, he's like, if I go out and throw for 450, 5 touchdowns and a pick, I'm after the game I'm focusing on how did I throw that pick? How
Yeah.
can I avoid throwing that pick?
Yeah.
And that's how you get better each and every time.
Yeah.
So, Coach, I really appreciate you giving me your time today. This has been awesome. You're the first guest on this.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having many others, but I appreciate you being the first one.
No, I appreciate having me on. Like I thoroughly enjoy stuff like this. Like I do these interviews and you just talk like traditional X's and O's and all that type of stuff. Like to me, the thing that I love about coaching football is like the process and all the other things that are non-football related that go into building a football team. So anytime I get a chance to shed light onto kind of the why we get to do things, because like to me that's where all the real magic is. I enjoy doing that, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that today.
Yeah, of course. We need to do this again because I have probably another 2 or 3 hours worth of questions on here that we didn't even get to today.
For sure,
So.
I'd love to be back.
All right, absolutely. For everybody else, hey, I appreciate you guys watching. There we go. Appreciate you guys watching. If you want to support the channel, there'll be links in the bio where you can show us some love. Obviously, check out Danny's Aquatic Adventures. She's doing some fun stuff. Love what Danielle's brought to the channel so far. Drew's got some stuff coming out of the pipeline. And, of course, you can catch us live every Thursday night. Leave it at the table. We run at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Liberal Time. We appreciate you guys, as always, watching and supporting us. Throw us a like, give us a subscription, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you.